General Congress taking place in Shanghai, which is starting in 4 weeks' time from today. Of course, as an African, I expect a lot of our members from Africa to be there in Shanghai, China. Not only to be there, but also to participate actively. And you cannot participate actively till you are financially, upright also. So I believe while most of the institutions here have paid their subscriptions, I still know that there are few of us who have not paid their subscription. And I please urge all the institutions that have not paid to please make sure that they pay their subscription so that we don't only participate, in this conference, but we also partake at the proceedings and the General Assembly, including the election. And we all know that we have taken a lot of time and effort to be relevant at that global federation. And it is also very important to make sure that our relevance continues not only to be maintained, but also to grow in that federation. And I want to thank the government of Uganda for the support toward the success of this conference and the cordial relationship with the engineering professionals that has resulted in monumental development of this country. I was here about 9 years ago when I was president of FAO. I know what I saw in Uganda. I think that time my sister here, Professor Dorothy Okello, was the president. And of course, when I came here 2 days ago, I saw a Kampala, a very different Kampala than what I saw 8 years ago. So I believe in the hard work of these honorable ministers who are here and all the engineering family here. And my friend, Engineer Bosco, has placed a request on me to maybe approve the hosting right of Uganda Institution of Professional Engineers for one of the WFO programs, whether General Assembly, Executive Council meeting, or World Engineering Day. I'm glad the institution is showing interest to be very active, as a member of the World Federation of Engineering Organization. What I can say is that we are willing to accept any proposal from your institution, but bear in mind that this kind of proposals, they come sometimes 2 years or even 4 years in advance. So it is a highly competitive process, but no matter how long a process, takes, if you start the process today, you will get, you will get it one day. So I assure you, whenever you apply, we are there to give you support you need. It's not a decision that will be taken by a president. It has to go through the executive board and the executive council before, and even lastly, the General Assembly of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations. So I'm very happy that you have that mindset of hosting WFO. And from what I have seen, especially with the relationship you have with the government of the country and even of the region, I believe we are going to get whatever we require to get. And it will also be better for you when you participate in 1 or 2 of such General Assembly meetings and see the kind of requirements that are needed and the kind of expectations on the hosting institution, so that when we come to Uganda, you will even make it much better than what you have seen previously. So with these few remarks, I want to thank everybody that is here with us, and I'm looking forward to a very robust discussion at this conference and a communique that will be implemented by all the stakeholders, including the World Federation of Engineering Organizations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Shehu, and for recognizing the long journey we have walked when you came as the FAO president and during that time of my tenure as the Uganda president. And I thank God that today we still remain very engaged in driving the agenda, and you more so at the global stage. Well done. Well done. So we'll now move into a video presentation from UNESCO. We shall hear from Dr. Lydia Brito, the Deputy Director General of UNESCO. UNESCO is a very important partner to the engineering field, from the global field to the local field. For those in Uganda, you'll be aware that, in fact, in Africa, we've been running the UNESCO China Funds in Trust project over the last 3 years. And so it's with great pleasure that we have the video on. Is it ready, Tim? Okay, thank you.
Honorable Minister, distinguished participants, colleagues, friends, and ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to welcome you to the 11th African Engineering Week and the 9th African Engineering Conference. I sincerely regret that I cannot be with you in person today to celebrate these very important events in the vibrant city of Kampala, Uganda. I wish to sincerely thank the co-organizers of this event, in particular the government and the Uganda Institution of Professional Engineers for hosting these important gatherings. My special thanks also go to the Federation of African Engineering Organizations for coordinating these events and mobilizing its members to ensure its success. Your leadership and dedication have made this gathering possible. You embody the spirit of innovation and collaboration that Africa needs. I would like to warmly thank the World Federation of Engineering Organizations for its sustained support throughout the preparation and execution of this event. This year, we meet under the theme Leveraging Engineering, Innovation and Technology to Accelerate Africa's Socio-Economic Transformation. Engineering is at the heart of human progress. It is to build resilience infrastructure, expand clean energy, advance digitalization and artificial, strengthen food security, and design inclusive cities. Through engineering, we can shape a sustainable and fair future for all. African Engineering Week, it brings together engineers, policymakers, industry leaders, researchers, students, and young professionals. It is a place to share knowledge, showcase innovation, and establish partnerships tailored to Africans' needs. This event is also close to UNESCO global priorities, Africa and gender equality. It demonstrates our strong commitment to empowering young people and advancing. I am pleased to see dedicated forums and young professionals. It is essential that young people are empowered with skills in artificial intelligence, digital transformation, and smart technologies. These skills will generate jobs, drive innovation, and support Africa's transition. African Engineering Week is also aligned with the International Decade of Science for Sustainable Development, launched in 2024. The decade seeks global challenges, restore trust in science, and strengthen international cooperation. The second call for the decade actions will close at it received almost 250 proposals from over 70 countries. 30% of these proposals came from Africa, reflecting commitment and engagement of African scientists in the International Decade of Science. I invite all of you to participate actively this week. Share your ideas, connect with others, build partnerships, drive Africa's transformation. On behalf of UNESCO, I wish you a fruitful and inspiring conference. May this week lead to lasting collaborations and impactful outcomes that engineering excellence for Africa and for the world. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. for the beautiful speech and messages you've given us. After that speech, we are skipping the dance because we danced enough when the speaker was going. Do you want to see more dancing? I think let's move to the next speech, if you allow. Let me call Engineer Dr. Silva Mugisha to give his statement. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. For the ministers, ladies and gentlemen, I know what time it is now. I had a PowerPoint presentation, but Honorable Minister allowed me not to go through the PowerPoint and promised that it is available. Test it. Honorable Minister, when I was asked to make a keynote, I decided to focus on three things: how engineers can spur growth, how they can help institutions to build resilience, and how we can have our mindset set on African solutions. That's what this presentation is. But Honorable Minister, maybe from National Water's side, just as a case study, is an institution that is in charge of piped water and sewage service in urban areas of Uganda and of course the neighboring villages, and a lot has been achieved. Chair, I want to thank you very much. You are one of my predecessors. You built a very strong foundation from 1983 to 1998, 15 years of very good service at the National Water and Sewage Corporation. Let's give him a big hand clap. So I took over around 2013, and since that time a number of things have changed, growing the number of towns we serve from 110 that time to about 282 now. And we want to make sure we reach 417. When you go on the financial side, our profitability has gone up. We had a profit or surplus after depreciation of 34 billion Uganda shillings. Now we are talking of a surplus of 150 billion, which is quite tremendous. And because of that, we are able to finance most of the activities we do at National Water. Now, this is something I want to encourage engineers. Most of us engineers, we think our role is to design things. Yes, that is our role. And indeed, we have designed things. But I think we need to also put our mindset on creating solutions, which is innovation that I was asked to talk about. And bridging theory and practice, there lies the need to strengthen research and development. And this is something most universities do. These days it is even much easier with AI. You don't need to take a lot of time designing a problem, formulating research hypotheses, all those things, analytical methods, all those things AI can do for you. So if we put all our energies on how we can create new solutions, how we can create new products, how we can do all these things, it would be very, very good value addition for us as engineers. Now, something tricky I observed recently is that it is not formal degrees that matter in creating engineering solutions. Recently, I was chatting with Honorable Minister Musonero here, the Minister of Science and Technology, I was telling her how some artisans had created a helicopter. There was a prototype of a helicopter. These are people who didn't study engineering even. But the helicopter is flying a few meters in the air. Now, when I was discussing with the Honorable Minister, she says, what is the science behind that? These are not the guys who will know what science it is, but they have made the helicopter to what? To move in the air. It reminded me of engineers putting some specific focus on reverse engineering. Find when things have been done, work backwards to see what theories, what concepts have led to this. You go to Katwe in Uganda here, people are doing so many things. They are making maize meals. They are making anything that anybody out there is making. But they have no engineering knowledge. But somehow they are creating things. So I think we engineers who have excelled at school, I don't think we have succeeded a lot in creating things. We have succeeded a lot in using our knowledge to design things, but innovation, nothing much. But we can work as partners with those people and be able to create a difference that will build resilience. Now, the other point I probably want to end with is the need to focus on self-reliance. At National Water, we do this a lot. We've created almost all solutions we use at National Water. All solutions. Talk about a billing created by our own selves. Talk about e-payment system created by our own selves. Talk about finance management system. We have a finance management system, maybe my colleagues from South Africa. The one is Africa, but we shall soon retire it and replace it with our own created solution. Because my belief, the leadership I do at the National Water is what anywhere on earth, we should be able to do it. So gone are days where do you think this is made in America, this is made in China, and if you put off your clothes and stand in the, how can those people create things and for you think you cannot create them? So once we create it in ourselves, engineers, I tell you, there are a lot of things we can do. We've done salt electrolyzers ourselves. We are improving our telemetry systems ourselves. We are now working with NEC to start manufacturing, to start creating spare parts for our pumps. I tell you, there are many opportunities. Engineers can explore, do things ourselves. If only we can remove this mindset that we can't manage it, somebody will do it for us. Because that's the mindset we seem to have. We can do here. Almost everything at the National Water is digitalized because we have very nice software engineers who have created solutions. So I want to end by challenging you. If we are going to be useful as engineers, if we are going to build resilience as engineers, maybe what I didn't tell you, we got a hack, our systems were hacked, and we were able to put back all systems which were hacked in 2 days because we had created them ourselves. The systems which we had not created ourselves, we almost got a problem. And some of them had to take 2 or 3 months with a lot of ransom being demanded from us. So you do things yourself, it will be very easy for you to rebound when there is an issue. So I want to thank all of you, thank the organizers who have invited me here to come and share this with you, and once again, apologize for not sharing the PowerPoint with you, because I knew the situation in which we are, we don't want to see PowerPoints. I thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Silva Mugisha. Definitely, National Water is a good example The foundation is very firm and strong, and it has continued to be an exemplary government company. By that time, in 1998, most parastatals government companies were privatized. I remember when I was that time managing director, I stood my ground. I said, no way, we cannot privatize water. And I'm glad the foundation we laid has today produced able engineers like Dr. Silva Mugisha and his colleagues, and we are very proud of you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Co-Chair. Let me also add that we're also very proud of the Co-Chair as having served as the patron for UIPE and bringing that solid nature to the institution at the time we really needed it greatly. Thank you very much. And let me now also take the opportunity to invite our Engineer-in-Chief, Engineer Chitosa Stephen, to give some remarks on what we've ably heard from Engineer Dr. Silva. Maybe Engineer Chitosa, as you are working, I have debated about it, but I think I must say, many years ago in primary school, Stephen and I were classmates, never knowing that we would end up on such a platform. I'm so proud to have the Engineer-in-Chief as my primary classmate, primary school classmate.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Dorothy. In fact, I met Dorothy in 1974 in primary 1 at Kitante Primary School. So, honorable ministers, allow me to stand on the protocols already observed. My name is Engineer Stephen Chiwanuka Chitonsa, and I'm the Acting Engineer-in-Chief of Ministry of Works and Transport. And I'm also standing here on behalf of the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Works and Transport.
No, he's good. He's a very sharp guy.
Honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor and privilege to address you at the 11th UNESCO Africa Engineering Week and the 9th African Engineering Conference here in the beautiful city of Kampala, Uganda. I'm also delighted to be part of this significant gathering of brilliant minds from Africa and other parts of the world that are dedicated to the advancement of engineering across the continent. Africa stands at the threshold of immense potential, blessed with vast natural resources, and one of the fastest growing populations in the world. Yet we face a critical challenge: the infrastructure gap that hinders our economic development, improvement of quality of life of our citizens, and business growth. As engineers, we bear the responsibility for planning, designing, constructing, and maintaining the infrastructure, technology, and systems that unlock Africa's potential. The good news is that infrastructure investment in Africa has been steadily increasing over the past 15 years. Between 2013 and 2017, the average annual funding of infrastructure development in Africa was 77 billion, which was double the average of the first 6 years of this century. Nearly half of the recent activity of infrastructure development has been concentrated in West and East Africa, accounting for 27% and 19% of the total investment, respectively. The transport and energy sectors together accounted for nearly 3/4 of the total investment. African governments have been the principal contributors, contributing for 42% of total funding in 2017. However, as a share of GDP, infrastructure investment in Africa has remained at around 3.5%. And when you compare this to China, which spends 7.7% of GDP on infrastructure, and India, which spends about 5.2%. So to match these levels, Africa will need to double its annual investment to about $150 billion starting in 2025. On the other hand, many African governments face rising debt to GDP ratios, which will constrain infrastructure spending in the years ahead. In sub-Saharan Africa, for example, the median debt to GDP ratio exceeds 50%, up from 31% in 2012. As we call for more spending on infrastructure, while avoiding our countries sliding into unsustainable debt, we engineers need also to up our game and skills for better delivery of projects. We need to improve on our professional practice if we are to develop Africa faster. In the context of our professional practice and the changing landscape of engineering, we must focus on the following key areas. 1, sustainability and green engineering. We must prioritize energy-efficient designs, renewable energy integration, and sustainable infrastructure planning. By addressing climate concerns, we can meet our infrastructure needs responsibly. We need to create environmentally responsible and climate-resilient engineering solutions. 2, digital technologies. Embracing digital tools such as building information modeling, drone technologies, robotics, 3D printing, artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, and the Internet of Things will revolutionize how we plan, design, construct, and maintain infrastructure. Going forward, engineers need to be technologically proficient. 3, project management skills. As highlighted by the World Economic Forum, project management is crucial for future business success. Skills like analytical thinking, resilience, and leadership are vital for effective project management and navigating the evolving job market. The 10 knowledge areas in project management, which include cost management, quality management, schedule management, scope management, stakeholder management, procurement management, integration management, resource management, risk management, communications management are relevant. Engineers are increasingly acquiring professional certifications in project management. 4, professional networking. Engineers should actively engage in professional associations and attend industrial conferences at all levels, local, regional, and continental. Building relationships with industrial leaders and experienced professionals will provide access to the latest skills and create opportunities for cross-generation learning and upskilling. I salute our senior engineers for a job well done, especially their outstanding contributions in establishing a strong foundation of our engineering professional associations in Africa over the 30 years. We would not be here had it not been for the good foundation laid by them. We continue to rely on their invaluable experience. So allow me to introduce some of the very senior engineers in Ministry of Works and Transport who have worked for us, for so many years and have really contributed to the advancement we've had. First, I want us to recognize Honorable Engineer John Nasasira. Honorable Engineer John Nasasira was our minister. First, he was the deputy minister for 5 years, from 1989 to 1994, for 5 years. Then for 15 years, from 1996 to 2011, he was a full minister of Works and Transport. So he served as a minister in total for 20 years. So we thank you, Honorable Minister, for your service. And also, in addition, Honorable Engineer Nasasira was our patron, was a patron of Uganda Institution of Professional Engineers for 22 years. We also have amidst us the Engineer-in-Chief Emeritus, our last Engineer-in-Chief, Engineer Samson Bagonza. He was the Engineer-in-Chief from 2003 to 2024. So he served as engineer-in-chief for 21 years. Then we also have engineer A.O. Mugisa Augustine. He served the Ministry of Works and Transport for almost 40 years. Then, last but not least, we have engineer Musumba. He also served the Ministry of Works and Transport for also close to 40 years. Yes, I remember very well these senior engineers. They recruited me as a pupil engineer then in 1991. So I've been working in the Ministry of Works for only 34 years. Another 10 years. You know, so that I serve a total of 44 years. Thank you very much. So I also want to extend to the young generation of engineers who embody the future of engineering. They in such as ICT and artificial intelligence. In conclusion, engineering is bright. It requires our collective effort to bring as engineers by focusing on sustainability, embracing technologies, enhancing our project management skills. We can accelerate Africa's solution. Let us seize this opportunity to learn, collaborate, and innovate for the betterment of our continent, for God and my continent. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Engineer Kitunsa. I think the minister has assured you will add 10 years. Let's also hear from Professor Julian Cox, who is coming from the University of New York in Australia. He will have experience to share with us as engineer the continent. Thank you, Engineer Dr. I want to assure all presented that your presentation will be the proceedings of this conference. You are available to the Secretariat. Please, those are tools for learning for engineers. We shall pick from all of you. Thank you.
To everyone gathered here, good afternoon. And for those who were with us yesterday, you may recall that Australia. G'day. Thank you. Don't you just love technology? It truly is an honour and a privilege. I'm humbled to give this talk at this very prestigious. I'd also like to thank many of you today and yesterday for setting the scene for what I'm going to present today. I'd also like to acknowledge my university, UNSW Sydney, a global top 20 university, for supporting me in being able to attend and participate in the conference. Next slide. What I'd like to do is set the scene by offering you four words that I think someone has seen already in the last day and a half, and to bear these in mind as I go through my presentation. The first, of course, is collaboration. Inspiration, aspiration, and of course, social impact. Next slide, please. Throughout my career of some 35 years or so, thank you, I've worn many hats, but I like to think that everything that I have done amounts to a professional who is in service of the community. Before I get to the core of the talk, I'd like to offer one of those hats. Besides being a little E engineer, I'm also known increasingly as the Food Safety Santa. And let's see if this works.
Festive and functional.
Oh, we're not getting any volume, but that's okay. Basically, what I'm saying there is festive and functional. I am usually very festive and usually functional. Just to prove that, I have the privilege through a series of...
and functional.
There it is. Thank you. The technology seems to be working now. Excellent.
Festive and functional.
Let's try and get to the next slide, or we're going to be seeing that. Through this charitable organisation, through the wonders of media, television, I've been able to spread food safety messages far and wide. We've also talked about the importance of youth, that we need to engage youth, we need to create a pipeline, not just for engineering, but in this space also to encourage young people to understand simple things like food safety for the betterment of society. And so I'm working also with the Green Bronx machine to bring Food Safety Santa to the animated world. This is probably more like my usual uniform, but I thought in honour of what I'm doing here and where I am today...
We go back to those ancient times. They learned how to preserve foods, using drying, using salt and some of the... We go back to those...
Still not working. That I'm also channeling Father Christmas Uganda style.
We go back to those ancient times. They learned how to preserve...
Yeah, next slide, please. Of course, I'm also here, again, thanks to my university, as the Associate Dean International for the faculty or the College or School of Engineering at UNSW, which is, in fact, one of the largest schools of engineering worldwide, #1 in Australia and, again, top 20 in the world. So it's a privilege to represent them. I mention that and that particular role because we have built a relationship with Africa, and in particular here in Uganda, and I just wanted to link two things together here, if this will work.
Wetwogerera Father Christmas atuuse mu kitundu. Christmas kati ssaawa za masala. Santa atuuse wuuyo.
This actually went viral on TikTok, so I think I'm probably more famous in Uganda than anyone else in the world. Now, the relationship between UNSW and me and Uganda goes back further than 2023. We celebrate a 10-year relationship here. We indeed are good friends of Uganda. Next, please. Started in 2016, building that relationship at our university with a couple of us to Gulu, a city in northern Uganda. Next. After a number of visits of staff, that culminated in 2017 of a visit where I brought 10 engineering students to Uganda. And we spent most of our time in around Gulu. And that was formative, not just for what we could bring to Uganda, but our students took away from Uganda the messages. And just two of the students collaborated with local farmers in eastern Uganda to create a 60 coffee business that actually returns money to women in communities here in Uganda. Next. Second project was called Rice Cycle, which focused on the utilisation of agricultural waste. Continues today. Next. As AgriCycle, and in fact, students from UNSW have just departed Uganda yet again after spending time in Gulu. Next. Not only have we visited here, but we've had students visit Australia, and not just a handshaking university visit. Of course, there were learnings at the university, but we also next took those students into regional Australia so they could look at agricultural practices and innovation in technology around farming. Next, and next. And that culminated in two of those students returning to Uganda and establishing the African STEM Education Initiative, which is about reaching out to children in primary and secondary schools and encouraging them into STEM directions. We've also seen projects in women's health, in eye health, and in the repair of medical technologies in hospitals. Next. We've also worked on institutional and staff development in Gulu, including the use of technology in teaching. Next. Last year I offered 2 short courses in developing teaching practice. Next. Master classes for students in the area of food safety and quality. Next. Yeah. And right now we have an ongoing project around low technology, cheap solutions to provide potable water, particularly in schools and other more remote communities using UVC technology. Next. We're also working on curriculum design collaboratively with Gulu around renewable energy engineering. And that's through our world-leading school in this area. Next. This is the building that houses it, one of the few 6-star energy-rated buildings in the country. Next. Powered by our own solar cells using exclusively green energy. Next. And in terms of translational research from the lab to industry, we even have an extensive world-leading facility to take solar cell technology from the lab into pilot scale, ready for translation to industry. Next. So I think it's fair to say that we have been building an excellent relationship here in Uganda, and I'd be very interested to discuss further how UNSW might be able to work further, not just with Uganda, but with Africa. Next. So to another hat, and I think the major hat. Next. Oh, wow. Next, that's it. Where I see myself as the serious academic today, sharing with you just one piece of research that I hope engenders all of those 4 words I presented earlier. And that's a project about recovery in the poultry industry, next, which is a not-so-poultry project in terms of achieve. Next. I've worked with the poultry industry for around 30 years. As you can see, it's had a marked effect on me. Next. In Australia, We used to be a nation of red meat eaters. We rode on the back of cattle and sheep. Chicken is a specialty, something eaten on a Sunday lunch. That has changed significantly to the point now where poultry, chicken meat, is the dominant protein in the meal of Australians. Next. And you can see that even as a relatively small nation, when we look at a per capita basis of consumption, South Africa is also up there. Now, what about, well, of course, next. Yesterday, that the anticipated explosion of population here in Uganda and in Africa generally will see the need for intensification, expansion of food production, and I anticipate animal production will mean that we need to look at engineering solutions to move along with that expansion. Next. So in Australia, as you can see, we have massive production of chickens, of chicken meat. Industry is highly industrialised. Industry tends to take care of primary production and processing without its problems. Next. Of course, we have the chickens themselves and the production of feed, both set a footprint. We have massive waste associated with the production, mostly in the form of manure, but we also have odour and noise pollution, and the industry has been challenged to move further and further away from at the same time as that population continues to sprawl away from the coast. Along with that, then, our major challenges are with water, but also with energy. When we look at Australia generally, of course, it's a very dry continent. Most of the population is located that extends around most of the coast. Along with that, poultry production is still relatively close. So you might think, hang on, it's coastal, water production, water availability should not be a problem. Next. Not the case. Australia is considered, in terms of precipitation, the second driest continent on Earth. And it's only going to get worse. The projections show that we are going to see, on average, less rainfall. So water security is a major challenge for our continent. Next slide. I'm reminded of Samuel Taylor Coleridge then, who said, next slide, in his poem, "Water, water everywhere, nor any drop to drink." Of course, he was referring in the rhyme to the marine environment. Now, I've taken some poetic licence, next slide please, to say that from our perspective, water is not everywhere. Its use, it needs a rethink. That's engineering. Next. Of course, we need water for primary production to grow those chickens. And that's a significant need, but not as significant as the water required for processing those chickens. Next. So if we look at the abattoir, next, we see the major inputs and outputs. So of course, we're in the business of making dressed chickens and other value-added products. Along with that then, energy is required, and that can come in the form of gas or coal for boilers. That generates waste. We need significant electricity for a whole range of reasons, including heating and cooling. That generates a significant CO2 footprint. But also, we use significant amounts of potable water, and of course then we have a significant outpouring of wastewater. Next. What that means, of course, is that if we have to produce more chickens, and imagine that Africa might have to do the same, that all of those inputs along with those outputs are also going to increase. Next. I'm not going to go through these data extensively, but just please take note of the amount of water that is consumed per bird, up to 40 litres per chicken. That's a lot of water. Next. So this project was about minimising the amount of potable, pristine water that we're using as an input, and along with that, trying to significantly reduce the amount of wastewater that we are producing. Next. Along with that, what we hope is that by doing that, we can actually reduce the amount of energy that's required and therefore the overall environmental footprint of poultry processing. Next. Oh. Wow. So we've looked at a competitor where they had an end-of-pipe wastewater treatment facility and found while that works, that there's a significant loss of energy even though it reduces the amount of wastewater being produced. Next. Next. Yep, next. So our thought was that we could integrate water processing inside the plant, and by having water treatment proximal to key elements of processing that are water hungry, that we could conserve not only water but also energy. Next. In terms of costs, the input costs, particularly in terms of water, are not significantly high, but certainly energy is. Next. But when it comes to the water, the energy and municipal treatment is very high. So significant savings, economic benefits as well as environmental benefits. Next. So we thought about the range of options that were possible. Next. And looked at two of the significant operations, unit operations within poultry processing. They are the scalder and the spin chiller. Next. Next. Scalder is where the chicken is heated at the surface to open the pores, allowing the feathers to be withdrawn. But it's a very water-hungry and dirty operation. When the birds are immersed, they're covered in soil as they've been killed. There's faeces, there's blood, there's the feathers. It's a soup, a very challenging matrix for water. We started to look as a treatment candidate at aluminium oxide ceramic. Next. Before we embarked on anything experimental, we performed a triple bottom line analysis. Next. Found that while there were benefits to real benefits came if we could recover both water and energy. So this supported the hypothesis that if we had filtration operations close to those unit operations, this would be of benefit. Next. In terms of water, next. Constraints we might face, particularly in the regulatory environment. Next. Basically, we concluded that some to the fact that if we could demonstrate that water was fit for purpose, then we were onto a viable project.
Prof, we are running out of time. Maybe I give you and we close, yeah.
Okay. So basically, sorry, I thought I had 30 minutes, but I guess we're, Yeah, okay. Of the technology, we built a rig, put it in place next to the scald tank. Next. We looked at water reuse guidelines and the parameters that we needed to be cognizant of. Next. And performed analysis for those parameters. Next. And found that basically all of those parameters, pH, suspended solids, and next, E. coli as an indicator of water safety and quality were all within acceptable guidelines. Next. I'll skip past this bit. I was going to look at some modelling, but I think for the engineers out there, but I think we'll skip past these next slides. So next, 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 next. I'll turn to energy. Next. Very briefly, what we found was that by, again, having the filtration unit next to the key unit operations scald tank, that we could actually energy. Next. Looking at this then, we performed a life cycle analysis on what we were doing versus traditional end-of-pipe treatment and the advanced wastewater end-of-pipe treatment. Next. Next. And basically found that, next, that with our operation that we could actually recover of the water going into the plant over half of the energy in the form of heating from that water. Next. Next. We found that, of course, while we needed to input that this was one of the most efficient operations compared to existing operations. Next. Looked at the spatula as well. Next. Basically similar. And all I wanted to show here is the performance that if you look at the water, which is relatively clean at that stage, we're still getting a significant improvement in the quality of water to near potable quality. Next. So in conclusion, what I've highlighted, we can actually use ceramic membrane technology to effect recovery of water, but also energy in poultry operations. Next. Few of those 4 words. Next. I also wanted to remind of something that happened yesterday, that I attended a very excellent and inspiring session around the African Women's Engineering Forum. I wanted to add then a 5th word, next, and that is diversity. That we need to look at the diversity in our profession to see a richness develop. And I know that's been emphasised, and I just want to emphasise it again. And in terms of diversity, I just want to mention one particular woman. This is my wife, Helen. In a week's time, we celebrate 36 years of marriage. I'm just finishing up. So with that, we won't have any time for questions, but what I will do is encourage you to please make contact with me. I'll be here for the rest of the week. They are all of my social media contacts. I'd be happy to engage with you. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Cox. We shall need that publication for us who want to keep chicken and recycling the waste, what effluents and so on. There'll be a lot to learn from your submission. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let me give this opportunity now to call the last but one speaker, Dr. Monica Musenero, who will be Minister for Science and Technology and Innovation. She'll give us some insight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. I will, like the others, stand on the protocol established, except to ask for exception if Your Excellency, the Minister from DRC, if you're here, I would love to have you introduced. I know you were here earlier. I haven't located. He's there. You are welcome, Your Excellency. And I'll try to summarize. I'm not known for being brave. I'm actually famous for making long presentations. But today, I will make an exception. It's a great honor for me to welcome all of us here today to this 11th Africa Engineering Conference, Engineering Week, and 9th Africa Conference. Before I became Minister for Science and Technology, I was an epidemiologist. So I was aware of so many scientists in the biologies I did not know that the world was full of engineers. It is until I became Minister for Science, then I found myself surrounded by engineers. And I've spent all this time trying to learn how to speak to them. So I hope my remarks will make sense today. We have had a lot. My focus is going to be, how do we infuse innovation? How do we infuse innovation in the Africa engineering? As we have already heard, Africa stands at a very, very critical point in our development. And we are also aware that Africa has missed a lot. Even though, as we note in His Excellency the President's speech, that most of the development is recent. But we also note that 3 gigantic steps have already been completed in terms of industrial revolutions. And these gigantic steps left Africa quite behind. In the first one, we were under slavery. We couldn't even pick anything. The second one, we were under occupation, also known as colonization. And we were being set up for raw material export and provision of basic labor. In the third one, we were learning how to be states, because we got independence, and then we were left with these dysfunctional systems which did not connect with innovation. And so Africa lagged behind. That is a well-known fact. But the consequences of the lag have been misunderstood. Africa has been unfairly judged by the rest of the world as being intentionally not progressing with the rest of the world due to faults of our own, due to faults of corruption, due to faults of not being serious, due to... Indeed, those are true, but they are symptoms. They are not the cause. The cause is different. The cause is the chasm, the gap left, which Africa had no mechanisms to cross and catch up with the rest of the world. The second consequence of that gap has also been that Africa lost confidence. We lost confidence. We started judging ourselves. We can't, we are not able. And that has consolidated a phenomenon of consumerism. We don't trust ourselves to think and innovate. Even when people innovate, we don't trust what they have innovated. We think it is not good enough. And it's easier for a Ugandan to buy something from another continent than to buy it, even the same one, from a neighbor on this collective landmass. And these have resulted in a perpetuation more than necessary. And as the 4th Industrial Revolution came, it has progressed significantly. And now we are seeing the 5th Industrial Revolution coming in view. I wish that Africa, this is your first industrial revolution. And so we need to collect ourselves, collect our confidence, collect our people, collect the minds of the young people and the technical people so that we can begin to consolidate ourselves and build the science, technology, and innovation, which is really the foundation of engineering. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we have entered the fourth industrial revolution, actually it is way, way, way advanced. And people have started talking of the fifth industrial revolution. We have now reached this point where we have no excuse. We have no excuse. Most of our nations are coming to 70 years of age. We are mature. We have sufficient population, and they are fairly educated. We still have sufficient raw materials and wealth on this richly endowed continent. We have had an education, even though it's not the most ideal. We really have the capacity now to sit and analyze it. What we are lacking is confidence. Confidence that we can do it. What we are lacking is unity. I wish us to note that we talk about the European Industrial Revolution. We don't talk about the French Industrial Revolution or the British Industrial Revolution because it requires a landmass. It requires a minimum landmass to drive an industrial revolution. Industrial revolution means you own technology and you begin to multiply and create more and more valuable technology. Industrial revolution does not mean you sitting at the receiver end of artificial intelligence and searching something on ChatGPT and you think you are part of an industrial revolution. You are not. Have you heard me? Yeah. Yes. You are not. You are perpetuating the consumerism. I'm not saying don't use, but for what? If we perpetuate ourselves to be consumers of STEM, then we are not part of it. Being part of it means being part of the generation. Why? Because that is where wealth lies. When you are just a consumer, you are a spender of wealth. You are not a generator of wealth. For me, it was very sobering to realize that all wealth and all technology originates from the mind. It starts as an idea. And when you are able to take that idea, translate it into a technology, make that technology solve a problem, be able to manufacture and multiply that technology, be able to sell that technology or commercialize it as we use it, then you'll begin to attract wealth. And I want to say, Africa, it is all about economy. If you think about technology in terms of a humanitarian something, the rest of the world has not thought about it that way. I want to tell you that green economy is about wealth. It's about economy. Don't let anybody tell you, oh, please come here, let us gather, this is for the welfare of human beings to you. Yeah, we can have welfare after money, please. Let us have welfare, let us have social after what? Money. Africa become greedy for money. Let's stop living as if we don't love money. The reason we are in the states that we are is because we have not attracted money. Money has flown out of the continent. And so as we look at developing our engineering, as we look at developing our science, our technology, our engineering, our mathematics, the first question is, where is the money? Where is the money? Sometimes we are so full of humanitarian projects, living at the bottom, sustaining that level, as if we don't want to live a better life. Where is the money in the engineering? Where is it flowing? In that contract, where is the flow of the money? Is it in the country or out the country? Is it on the continent or outside the continent? In my analysis, we discovered that 70% of all the value in any manufactured product is engineering. Be it a medicine, be it food, it is engineering. And so if we are going to build wealth in this country, we must own engineering. We must own engineering. And we need, as we sit in this conference, as we listen to papers, let's think about ownership. This is a huge landmass of now about 1.55 billion people. This is a huge population. Even if you simply sold it to Africa, you'll make money. So let's think about ownership. Ladies and gentlemen, I now want to give briefly, as I move towards, I want to give some thoughts that have come in Uganda. We noticed that we were thought dependent, very thought dependent. And because we are thought dependent, it has been difficult for us. This is thought in terms of ideology. How do you think holistically about the things? We have been very thought dependent, and so we have depended so much on other people to think for us. We have delegated the thinking. Please stop delegating the thinking. Let us start to think about the things which we are doing. So the government of Uganda, examining the power of science, technology, and innovation, and one of the big areas is engineering, we have designed our national development plan, the development plan for the next 5 years on 4 sectors as the key drivers of growth. And we have dubbed these ATMs like the ATM where you go and pick money. And this is agro-industrialization, which depends heavily on engineering. Tourism, which depends heavily on engineering. Minerals development, which depends heavily on engineering. And science, technology, and innovation. We have a very big, ambitious plan to multiply our GDP 10 times between now and 2040. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, it cannot be business as usual. It can't be. So innovation has to take center stage. Over the past years, we have focused on a few areas, and these include, we have categorized them in 2. 1, having courage to create new sectors of the economy, completely new. Those ones we were told we don't have a competitive advantage in, and the majority of them are engineering. So the second one is to add value to what we have. So in the first category, we are creating an automotive industry. And towards the last minute of my presentation, they will play for us a small video, very brief, to see the progress that we have made in this area. And I want to invite all of you, ladies and gentlemen, on Friday to come and visit our automotive manufacturing plant in Jinja, which is just about an hour from Kampala. We'll be transporting you in the best electric bus you have ever sat in, made in Uganda. Those motorcycles you see, Uganda has a very interesting relationships with the two-wheeler vehicles. They are commercial, and so you can't miss them. We are rapidly switching them onto electric, all of them made in Uganda. We have set up engineering infrastructure to support innovation. The Engineering Development and Innovation Center is a very modern facility that is bringing universities, the graduates of universities. Professor Dorothy has been part of it. The graduates, we are getting these engineers who are educated on an incomplete education system and transforming them. Within 8 weeks, they are ready to go. We have also established a deep tech center of excellence where we are working on large-scale electronics hardware manufacturing. We can make up to 10,000 units a year. We are hoping to expand that. The market is there, so that's not our limitation. We are turning out smart meters. If you want to make the cheapest and best quality sensors, come to Uganda. We will make them for you. World class at less than half the price. We have been able to establish one of the most phenomenal campuses for bioscience and the product manufacturing, and we have experimented government working with private sector, and Day Biopharma sits as one of the largest pharmaceutical manufacturing campuses on the continent. If you're interested in seeing some of this infrastructure during your stay, and maybe we will be able to organize and we'll take you there. And you see, this has all come because of a shift in ideology. We believe that Uganda should become a net source of technology and not merely a consumer. And so we defiantly march to confront thought processes, ideologies that go counter to that. And the results are very visible. So during this week, you will experience a very minute part of our young innovators and exhibitors whom you will be seeing there, ranging from electric mobility, artificial intelligence, innovative materials, climate technologies, electronic manufacturing. So really the engineering of Africa into a first world is within sight. We can touch it, we can see it. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to make a few recommendations. One, starting from there, how do we move forward? First is we need the proper ideology, the proper way of thinking about our situation and how we move. Some of the things we rotate in are not going to let us out of that circle. We need new energy which takes us out at a tangent from that orbit so that we can go to another orbit. And in this, I propose that we look at the following. One, our education. Education is the root
on financial and
In Uganda, we discovered that whereas we have a good education, we are missing some components,
of national e-mobility ecosystem,
which we have dubbed the black box. And so we focus on that. We are not dismantling the education system. We are focusing. Black box is represented by deliberately, intentionally missing components that keep us from taking our ideas to the market. The second one is prioritization.
The expo is expected to position Uganda.
The speaker mentioned here, it has been an uphill task to convince people that we should fund science, technology, and innovation. But by and by, as we have prioritized and shown signs and shown results, you saw her declaration here. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you in absentia that we will now have this support and Uganda will go at a sprint. The third ideological component is the funding. But also, in terms of prioritization, we tend to go everywhere. You are trying to do science, but in a zillion directions. This university has 20 innovations, the other university has another 100, another one is working with that. So we don't concentrate the water to form a river. So we needed to think, can we all gather around a certain point so that we show and learn? And then the investment to make sure that the funding, which is the fuel, prioritization gives you the compass, investment gives us the fuel for us to move. The second priority is human capital development.
South Africa and Tanzania.
We need to focus on the people.
Keynote addresses, illuminating fireside.
Here we have something we call the National Development Triad.
And technology.
It has 3 points. One of them is human capital. And a gentleman writing a book, Good to Great, Jim Collins, said that if you want to move from where you are, which is good, to a great situation, first who? And then what? When we focus on developing the people, so that we don't always have the Human Development Index is low, but also we need to define what should constitute the Human Development Index. Just because you have a zillion engineers, they can all be there, and they are all in one area, construction, design, and implementation using technology developed elsewhere. The third thing is we need to develop the technology and the transfer. And the fourth thing is we need to work together as a continent to develop a market. Market for ideas, market for products. We need to have a collaboration that is across the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, colleague ministers, the technical people, Africa has not yet reached competition. We are in collaboration and complementation. If we can have that view, then when I see something being made in Uganda, I'm not going to rush also in the neighborhood and try to replicate. I will see, how do I connect to this and also establish a niche? That's what I would like to request us. So our call now is, let us engineer Africa's future together, and we can. Please engineer the future, do not import it.
Under the theme Powering Innovation,
innovate it. Even if it will take you a little bit longer. I've been under pressure. Oh, we have the green revolution. Please remove taxes from electric vehicles so that they can flood in the country. Absolutely no. Uganda is going to make our own electric vehicles. At least that's one small niche, and it is very high quality.
and technology.
What is it that your country is saying? We are not going to import it. We are going to make it. It will take you a bit longer. It will be a bit harder. Ease is not part of the formula. Ease is not part of the formula. If you want to do things easy, then you are in the wrong game.
To empower local talent and entrepreneurship.
If I don't find difficulty in my job, then I realize I have missed something. Because it's a new job. Nobody has dug the road for me.
Innovation, a deal room with high-level business and investment discussions.
So, in closing, let me thank the Uganda Institution of Professional Engineers, the Federation of Africa Engineering Organizations, the World Federation of Engineering Organizations. I wish to thank UNESCO, my colleagues, the Minister of Works and Transport, and the Minister of Disaster Preparedness, and all the partners who have worked so tirelessly. I want to say I'm very proud of you. I'm really proud of you. Those who work with me know my standards. If you have been in Uganda and you have been to Science Week, when you enter there, you forget you are in Uganda. So to impress me is not easy. And I'm saying I'm really proud of you. And I really hope that the president of the World Federation will take a good report. I'm requesting you that observe our strengths score us, our weaknesses nurture us, so that we qualify to host that global meeting.
And international investors, fostering strategic partnerships and secure financial resources for the large-scale deployment of Ugandan e-mobility solutions.
To the wider diaspora, I want to thank you so much for all the support that you have rendered to Africa. And I want to encourage you to continue supporting us, especially through change. When things which have been familiar have changed a bit, move with us. I believe that a developed Africa is good for everybody, and the world will have lesser problems. I warmly welcome colleague ministers who responded to the invitation from across the continent, and you are here. We are looking forward to our dialogue, policy dialogue and deep talk, so that we can begin to move together. We want to move together. We want to share in depth what we have learned, and also learn from you what you're doing, so that we see how we are going to move forward. Lastly, I wish to thank our president, who is the patron of science, technology, and innovation in the country. He carried it when nobody believed it, and he has relentlessly championed science, technology, and innovation. So I wish to appreciate his leadership, appreciate our cabinet. Sometimes even when they don't really understand what I'm saying, they still say, "Go ye, Msenero, go." Thank you very much. Because sometimes we are speaking very strange language. My first papers I took to cabinet were written like a scientific publication, but they tolerated them anyway. Thank you very much. Take my appreciation, and the Speaker and Parliament and their support. Ladies and gentlemen, let us in these days that we are here not only share papers and panels, but let us forge functional partnerships. Let us have ventures launched. Let us commit ourselves to turning Africa's immense potential into tangible prosperity. At STA, we focus and are committed to making Uganda the best that it can ever be. Thank you. God bless Africa. God bless Uganda. For God and my
country.
E-mobility innovation
Thank you for listening.
Industrialization on the African continent, whose commitment to industrialization and green growth continues to inspire confidence and bold action. The Expo positioned Uganda at the forefront of Africa's green mobility revolution, while attracting international attention, investment, and strategic partnerships. Now we look ahead. From the 18th to the 19th of
One
September
more applause.
2025, the National E-Mobility Expo returns to the Chira Vehicle Plant, bigger, better, and with big
Yeah, thank you very much,
The
our
Expo
Minister
will be hosted
in
by
charge
Chira
of
Motors
Science,
Corporation
Technology,
in
and
partnership with
Innovation,
STI OP, Presidential CEO Forum,
for your
and Government
elaborate
Citizen Interaction Center.
speech and
Under the theme
demonstration
Powering Innovation, Accelerating
our
Industrialization,
purposeful
and Shaping Africa's Green Future,
policies
the Expo will once again
that
bring
targets
together policymakers,
science and
industry
technology
leaders,
and development.
academics,
Thank you
investors,
very much,
and the
colleague
general
Minister.
public. The National
We always give us
E-Mobility
support
Expo 2025
and give the
has
President
been designed
support.
with an aim
At this
of
juncture,
accelerating Uganda's transition
let me call
to
the
a
Minister
green,
in charge of
energy-efficient
engineers in
mobility
this
ecosystem
country.
and
He is in
consolidate
charge of
our
all
position
engineering
as a regional leader
in the
in
country,
mobility,
Engineer
energy, and technology for social
General
economic
Katuma
transformation.
Wamala.
The objectives are
Welcome.
to showcase Uganda's innovation and capacity in electric vehicle design, manufacturing, and production, to catalyze new investment and strategic partnerships.
Thank you very
to
much,
advance
Honorable
supportive policies
Nek.
and regulatory frameworks, to promote public awareness and
If you
adoption
permit
to
me,
electric
I will
mobility,
also stand on
to
the
empower
protocol
local talent and entrepreneurship,
so that we
and to
can
foster strong
use on
regional
time.
collaborations. Over 2
Everybody
immersive
was
days,
recognized
more
in
than
their various
2,000
capacities.
delegates will experience
I also joined
plant and exhibition
recognize
tours
you.
and a marketplace innovation, a deal room with
I have
high
two
level
challenges
business
here.
and investment discussions.
standing
thought
between you and
leadership
your lunch.
sessions on finance, ecosystem growth,
So
and
I think
supply
I
chain
can imagine
resilience, networking and partnership
how others are
building
looking at me. They're saying, this
and a
man,
vibrant
we
public
want to go and
showcase
enjoy
that
the good
includes
meals.
university
They
students,
talked about
innovators,
Uganda
and the wider
cuisine,
community. Day
and now
one
it's
will
here
feature a
talking.
keynote
I will
address
not take
on
long.
powering innovation,
The second challenge I have
accelerating industrialization,
after
and
that
shaping Africa's
very,
green
very
future.
powerful speech
Positioning
by the
Uganda
scientists,
as a net source of
and I
e-mobility
myself am
solution.
not.
This will
I'm only a
localize the
scientist in
continental conversation
artillery
of
and
Uganda's
heavy
unique
weapons.
context, culminating
So I can imagine the challenge I have.
well-curated panel
But at the
discussions.
same time, I would
Panel
say,
one
yes,
on
I've been
financial
given the
strategic
opportunity
growth on
to
national
lead engineers,
e-mobility ecosystem
and I'm very
to
happy
actualize the
that I've
national
been given
e-mobility.
that opportunity.
Panel two
And the
on
challenge,
state of national
as
e-mobility
the Honorable
ecosystem.
Senator said,
And panel
if
three,
you're challenged, then you can
e-mobility
forge
infrastructure
forward.
and supply chain
So,
resilience.
permit me to start my
Day
remarks
two will feature the
with
official symbolic handover of
who
10
once
Toyota electric
remarked, and I
buses
quote,
to clients. A
The
powerful
engin-
demonstration
the engineer
of customer
has
confidence
been
and Chira Motors
and is a
Corporation's
maker of
readiness
history.
to meet the domestic and regional
So,
market demand.
you are
The
here
Expo is
to make
expected to
history.
position Uganda
So
as
today,
a true net source
Uganda
of
and
e-mobility
East Africa and the
solutions
rest
to
of us
Africa, attract
are
domestic
witnessing a
and
history
international investors,
in the discipline
fostering
and
strategic
professional
partnerships,
practice
and
of
secure
engineering
financial resources for the
by
large-scale
hosting the first
deployment of
African
Ugandan
Engineering
e-mobility
Week in East
solutions
Africa,
across the
which we are
region,
holding here.
facilitate high-level dialogue between government,
On that
industry,
note,
and academia
I stand
to
before
inform
you
the
today as the
development
Minister of
of
Works
supportive
and Transport
policies, incentives,
welcome
and a
you
robust
all
regulatory environment
to the
conducive
11th
to rapid
African
growth of the
Engineering
e-mobility
Week
sector,
and the
strengthen
9th
regional
African Engineering Conference. You are welcome. We are all gathered here at the Speak Resort Munyonyo, united under that theme which has been given to us by the organizing team, and I quote,
shaping Africa's green
leveraging engineering innovations and technology to accelerate Africa's socio-economic transformation. And Madame Musenero has done good justice to that theme. Thank you very much. And you have really challenged us. And when you are speaking, you are talking about money, that we are not thinking about money as Africa. Then it resonated in me that most of our contracts, not only in the continent but also in Uganda, are being done by our friends from abroad. So where is the money going? Huh? Where is that money going? There. So we must now wake up and tap that money And that money is borrowed money, isn't it? We borrow the money, invite our friends to come and execute the infrastructure, and the money goes there. Surely, I think we need to, it's a big challenge, Madam Senero, which you have given us about us not thinking about the money aspect. So, engineers in the Ministry of Works, let's start thinking about retaining the money. I want to extend a heartfelt welcome to all delegates who have traveled from various corners of Africa and the world to participate in this significant event. Uganda, with its stunning landscape and vibrant cultural heritage, is delighted to host you. I encourage you to explore our diverse tourist destinations and immerse yourselves in the warmth and hospitality of the Ugandan people, who are celebrated for their friendliness and generosity. We hope you'll find your stay here so enjoyable that you can even extend your stay. You know, many times many of us are in a hurry to go back into the stressful environment where you came from. Take some 2, 3, 4 days and relax. We don't usually relax. We are always in thinking that the work will be gone. Work will always be there. So please take some 2, 3 days and relax so that you go back when you are re-energized. This conference serves as a vital platform for engineers, policymakers, as we have seen. Ministers have been here attending, the speaker, the private sector, industry leaders and researchers to converge, share solutions, forge partnerships, and showcase breakthrough technologies. I think some of you have walked through the stands there, and we have seen, under the effort of Madam Senero, what science and technology has done and how it is moving us, and you'll see more of that as you go out in the field. As Albert Einstein once said, and I quote, "Scientists investigate that which is already. Engineers create that which has never been," unquote. So engineers, we are going to create what has never been, and that's the challenge on our lap. We will engage in profound discussions on innovative engineering for industrial and economic growth, sustainable infrastructure, transport and urban development, renewable energy, and climate-resilient engineering solutions, engineering innovations and agriculture. I saw the professor here talking about chicken and how you can be able to get to membrane and water and what. So these are some of the new ideas we should be capturing: water and food security, engineering capacity building, and education for our future. In addition to the insightful discussions, we have an exciting exhibition, which I think you have already seen, which is being showcased, and the latest advancement and innovations in engineering and technology. Honorable Musenera has talked much about this in her speech. This exhibition provides an excellent opportunity for participants to witness firsthand the cutting-edge solutions that are driving progress in various sectors. It is a chance to interact with innovators, explore new technologies, and discover potential collaboration that can further enhance our collective efforts towards socio-economic transformation. These discussions and exhibitions are not just timely, but essential as we endeavor to harness the transformative power of engineering and technology to drive socio-economic progress across our continent. A challenge again thrown on our lap by the scientist, Madam Musero. I'm confident that the insights and collaborations that will emerge from this conference will lay a very firm foundation for a brighter and more prosperous future for Africa. If we address those challenges and make sure that they become part of our consumption, then we should be able to move forward. Today, Africa stands at a point of inflection. We often speak about Africa's potential, and indeed, it is immense. Africa boasts of the world's youngest and fastest growing population, presenting a demographic dividend that can drive future growth. May I request those in the room who are 30 and below to stand up? 30 and below? 30 and below? Only this, 30 and below? 30 and below, please stand up. 30 and below. Now you can just see, taking the sample in this room, you can see the numbers. So the population, the demographics speak for themselves. And all these are very potential people. First, they are good innovators, they are future innovators, they are living in the generation, the new generation time. Possibly they are more innovative than some of us, and so we need to give them the opportunity. First, by exposing them, as Honorable Msenora has said, facilitating them to have their minds exercised, but also enabling them to enjoy the best of the continent. Please sit down. With 30% of the world's minerals and 65% of arable land, Africa is rich in natural resources. Moreover, the continent is also undergoing an exciting digital transformation marked by the rapid adoption of the new technologies. But again, as the Honorable Msenora said, we don't just grab and absorb. We need to examine what we are. I think some of you have seen what TikTok has done to our young generation, and how some of them are wasting a lot of their time and energies spending time on unproductive TikTok issues. So, and that is not what Honorable Mselo was saying. I think she was saying use the AI, examine it, what are you getting out, and how can you use it to improve your lifestyle. However, to unlock this potential, we require high-quality, resilient infrastructure of all forms. This includes transportation infrastructure, such as roads, railways, airports, ports and pipelines, utilities like electricity grids, water supply and sanitation system, energy infrastructure including power plants and dams, communication networks, because otherwise we shall not be able to take advantage of the development in that area, internet connectivity and broadband access, plus public structures like schools and hospitals. Infrastructure is the key bottleneck that we need to address to transform Africa alongside the development of human capital. Uganda is embarking on an ambitious journey with the implementation of the 4th National Development Plan, aiming for a 10-fold growth strategy to elevate the country's GDP from $50 billion in 2023 to $500 billion by 2040, and we are determined to make it. This transformative strategy is centered around 4 pivotal areas. Agro-industrial development. We are saying we should stop, and I think if you have been able to observe, for a long time we have exported a lot of our coffee as beans. Now we are adding value to our coffee. We are no longer exporting. We want to stop that hemorrhage of exporting our coffee as beans. So we are adding value to the coffee, as you'll see on some of the stands which are there. So agro-based agro-industrial development, tourism development, mineral-based development. This is also, again, as we are saying about agriculture, we should not continue exporting our minerals as raw materials. Our minerals must be value must be added, and we should maximize the output of our minerals. Oil and gas, petrochemical industry, and science and technology, ICT and innovation, as you have heard. We already have the electric buses. We are looking for a market on the continent. but I understand we have the market, or we need to improve the infrastructure to enable Madame Musenero's products reach the markets where these buses are required. So we need to help her to move her products. The success of this strategy is supported by key enablers such as infrastructure, security, human capital, and law and order. At this conference, I invite you to explore how these anchor areas and enablers of infrastructure can be effectively leveraged to achieve the desired economic growth. As a minister responsible for transport infrastructure in Uganda, I'm excited to kick off these discussions, focusing on the implementation of infrastructure projects in Uganda and Africa at large. We should delve into the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead, exploring how we can collectively overcome bottlenecks in infrastructure development to unlock our vast potential. According to the African Development Bank, the infrastructure requirements on the continent stand between $130 billion to $170 billion annually, with a financing gap of $62 billion to $108 billion. Uganda is currently implementing the 4th National Development Plan, whose financing requirement for the Integrated Transport Infrastructure and Services Program amounts to about $23 billion over the next 5 years, translating to an annual investment of $4.6 billion. The budget for this financial year will provide $2.6 billion, leaving a funding gap of about $2.6 billion. Now, again, going back to what I said, most of this money will again go back. It will migrate from the country back to where, possibly not only where we bought it from, but even to other countries. And yet, we pay the debt and the interests. So this is an area which we need all of us to examine. So to address this gap, the government of Uganda is exploring alternative means of financing, such as infrastructure bonds, well-structured public-private partnership. We are now promoting a lot of toll infrastructure so that the investor can be able to recoup the money. He invests himself, develops the infrastructure, and then recoups his money over the time we will have agreed. However, funding gaps are fundamental but are not the only problem. Another critical issue is about poor project preparation, even where money is available. This goes back to our engineers. Projects often go into construction without technical design readiness. The projects are not being adequately de-risked and in many cases lack financial viability. The consequences of this is not that projects are not completed on time, within budget, and with the required quality. Governments in Africa are often left with expensive failed infrastructure projects. This is not only in Uganda, but we have also seen it elsewhere, characterized by prevalent cost and time overruns. This delays the development impact for several years, negatively affecting millions of lives and hindering attainment of the prosperity envisioned for people in our countries. None of these events at this conference would have been possible without the dedication of key partners. So I wish to commend and thank the Uganda Institution of Professional Engineers. Thank you very much for taking the lead. The Minister of Science and Technology and Innovations, Madame Musenero, thank you for your dedication. Thank you for your commitment. Thanks you also for the financial support, moral and everything. You are behind this with all the energy it deserves. Together with our partners and sponsors like ESCOM, South Africa. Is ESCOM here? Thank you very much, ESCOM. We appreciate. We also extend our profound gratitude to UNESCO and the Federation of African Engineering Organization for their strong support and partnership. Thank you, ma'am, for all that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to conclude again by welcoming you here and thanking you for turning up in big numbers. I'd never known that Africa has all this number of engineers, so I'm wondering why we cannot move. With all these brains here, with all this capacity here, what is preventing us to move? Nothing. If we go by Honorable Msenero's advice, then I think we need to put our house in order as a continent and be able to be in the field where we should ordinarily be and not be lacking. So thank you to all the delegates for your presence here, and I wish you a productive and inspiring conference. May your experiences in Uganda be both enriching and memorable, and may the bonds you've formed here lead to lasting partnership that will benefit all of us. Please network. Please make sure that you live here with a new friend. Make sure you don't go without having a friend who may end up being a very long-term friend. I saw some people here hugging with a lot of energy when they saw people that have interacted with for a long time. Take this opportunity to create friendship, but also network in the area. Let's share the experiences. Let's share what we have, and then be able to build on that again, because we have what it takes. Otherwise, I want to welcome you, and I want to thank everybody for turning up to this conference. Thank you very much. May God bless you for God and my country, and may God bless our continent. Thank you very much.
Give the minister another big hand clap.
Thank you very much, fellow engineers. I'm not very young. I've attended a number of conferences, including international conferences. I'm really moved by what I see before us here. The concentration, the attention, and the focus of engineers